Next on the early show, some UNF students are hitting the books on board an Amtrak train. The crew has details of their 9-day cross-country trip. You don't want to miss those UNF students.
In Florida, a college professor who firmly believes that students can learn a lot more outside the traditional classroom has decided to take his show on the road. Make that the rails. And early show correspondent Tracy Smith has the story in the study hall. Good morning.
Good morning, Harry. Some kids spend their entire college career looking out the window. In this course, that's actually a requirement because this class is held on a train, giving a whole new meaning to the term commuter student. It's the end of spring semester for these students from the University of North Florida. But instead of going on vacation, they're headed back to class.
We tend to learn really well, even our young folks. Field trips.
Professor Jace Hargis' wheels started turning after he took a train trip last year.
I thought, what a great place to have class.
The course is part environmental science, part anthropology, with a little bit of history and pop culture thrown in, all taught on an Amtrak train as it makes its way across the country. Think of it as a road trip on the rails for credit. The 9-day journey, which began in Jacksonville, went north to Washington, D.C. and Chicago before heading west to Los Angeles. The trip's progress documented with student photographs.
What else was being killed on that floor?
Along the route, Professor Hargis and his colleague Gordon Rakita lead small discussion groups with the passing landscape providing the ideal backdrop.
I thought if we could build a context, a background, as you will, of our country as we travel through it, that would be what we could learn about.
Like discussing Upton Sinclair's The Jungle while riding through Chicago, where the classic novel takes place. But if you're thinking the course is an easy A, think again. The Jungle's just one of 7 books students had to read for this single credit class, which also required a few sessions in a more traditional classroom.
This course is not about seeing the major tourist attractions. As a matter of fact, we're really not even going through those. This is the anti-sightseeing tour, if you really want to look at it that way. This is purely academic.
And it's not for the claustrophobic either. 2 people share each room.
Changing is the worst, and especially with these bunks, like you sit on the top bunk in your head, you have like this much space to move.
No strangers on a train here. Still, despite the space and the workload, they say it's worth the ride.
The exchange of ideas and experience combined and contextual learning is amazing. You know, you get so much more out of it.
What's it like having Mom along for this?
Ann Lancer's mom, Laura, enrolled at the university just to take this trip.
I really love the trains, but I have never really had the time to just get on them and ride. And I could have just done that, but I want to know what I'm looking at, and this is the way to find out.
In a few days, they'll all end up right back where they started. But Professor Hargis hopes their true journey has just begun.
If there's one thing that the students can take away from this trip, what do you want that one thing to be?
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Answers aren't that important to me. And on this trip, they're not that important. It's trying to help them foster good questioning.
Now, they're going to have to provide some answers because finals are this weekend somewhere between New Orleans and Jacksonville. And while it may look like a week-long party, students seem to take this course very seriously. No pillow fights.
However, you, when you were doing your stand-up on the train, looked like you were...
Weaving around a bit?
Right, yeah.
It's because I spent the ride in the bar car. No, really. It was making me sick to my stomach. I don't know how they study on that, but they say they're fine.
Jack Kerouac, Upton Sinclair, right? It looked like fun.
It was fun.
Thanks, Tracy.